For a very long break. You might hear my voice is still a little raspy. I have been going through laryngitis for the past, oh my goodness, 2.5 weeks. It's been something on my screen. There's been something going on, not just with me, but half the family has had it as well. And when you have 11 children, that's a lot of people. So I've been tending to my family, especially to the little baby Corey, who's almost 1, if you can believe it. My goodness. I was like so pregnant with her this time last year. She's probably been hit the second worst. Usually, like, I don't know how it is for you, but in my family, like, the kids will get sick and then I'm usually okay. I might, I'll get my version of it, but I'm okay. And it's a godsend when mom is standing and able to help everybody between me and dad. But this time, it's been a double whammy. So all that to say, though, even though my voice is still scratchy and I still, in my own head, I sound so deep, husky, I have it on my heart to share with you today the simple way we teach financial responsibility to our children. We didn't grow up, my husband or I, in Christian families. And in my family, money was a taboo topic. My parents just didn't talk about it. It was just one of those uncomfortable things that I figured out you just don't ask. Still to this day, I have no idea, what my parents made. We never talked about money. And it was, and I remember when I graduated high school, I went to a public high school. I had been accepted to a university program here in Ottawa, and I was automatically sent from my bank, where I had like a checking account, a student credit card with, I think it was $1,000 credit limit. And I was like, I felt so grown up, right? With like a fancy card to put in my wallet, with my purse. Oh my word. I racked up that credit limit so quickly, with school, and all of a sudden school fees and this, that, and all of a sudden a lot more financial freedom. But I didn't have financial responsibility principles taught into me, cultivated into me. And my parents don't watch my stuff by and large. So if you do see this, I love you so much. I remember my dad telling me years later, when I was a parent, he assumed that we would learn this stuff in high school. And I was like, no, Dad, they taught us how to put a condom on a banana, but they didn't teach us how to be financially responsible, right? I took an accounting course just because it was like one of the easy electives. But it was just like literally line items for people who are going to become accountants, I think. I don't know. Super boring. I never got into it. But it didn't teach me any kind of practical stuff day to day. So fast forward, my husband and I, first generation Christians, are now parents, and we're going to repeat history. We knew it. Like, it was almost like it felt like a magnetic thing that by default we would do what we knew, right? We just felt like we were throwing stuff at the wall to see what would stick. It feels like a mad scientist sometimes as a young parent at the time. And we were thinking, as money would be given to the children for birthdays and stuff. Or once they became sort of vaguely aware of money, maybe circa age 6, 7 years old, and they would just be like, buy me something. We were like, okay, this is a topic. It's not just an out there, like, this is real important stuff. And it turns out Jesus talked more about money than he did about any other topic recorded in the Gospels. About heaven, about hell. You'd think those are pretty important, right? Eternity. But no, he talked about money, because money is just universal. Every, culture of all time has had some kind of monetary system, and money, it goes deep to the heart, right? Like, the love of money is the root of all evil. And there's a lot of debate, and there's a lot of sensitive topics surrounding money and all the different themes. But what I'm going to get into today is just sharing with you, and I've even brought some little samples of just how we developed a system that's simple, it works. And my oldest daughter just made the biggest single purchase she's ever made with her own spending money. And she did it in a way that was really wise, and I'll tell you about it at the end. So what we decided to do, based on our own financial system that we kind of just figured out so that we wouldn't be absolutely disasters financially, as a young family with our income. Hey, Jethro, can you give her a little biscuit real quick? Cora's just in her high chair. Okay, so we obviously we tithe, right? We have a portion of our giving we give. And, I'm not going to get into a whole topic of tithing because I know there's a range of debate in Christian circles. We choose to make our baseline 10% of our gross income. And, if you choose to give beyond that, then God loves a, generous giver. So what we do is we did a 3-jar system based on our own grown-up system, because we figured, put the kids in the direction you want them to go, right? Kind of like toilet training, because eventually you want them to be able to do this on their own. So teach them the principles, guide them. And then when you take the props out, Lord willing, they will do it themselves, because they will have, learn the principles, develop some muscle memory, and also see the wisdom in it. So we, broadly speaking, in our own grown-up accounting, our own grown-up financial stewardship, a portion of the money God entrusts to us goes to giving. A portion of it goes to saving, whether that's short-term saving or paying down debt, whichever one is maybe both at the same time. Sometimes it's debt first. And then once that's all taken care of, then we'll roll what we were paying in debts into savings. And then finally there's spending. And we aim, as adults, to be like a 30-70 split, so that we're living off 70% of our income. And, that 30% would be at least 10% giving, another 10% savings or debt busting. And then giving, saving, and I'm totally having a blank right now. So we do our debt blast and our savings, right? That's how I've been doing it for years. So we did the same principle with the kids. And to make it simple, we use jam jars, because I have a lot of jam jars, because I like to can. So what do we got? So this is for one of my sons. Here it is. So our first, they all have their initial on the top, and they all have 3 jars. So one of them is, we call it the tithe. Oh, sometimes on some people's jars it says give. And next one would be save, and then finally spend. And you can see a split. So, this is his sorting jar. So just money that needs to be sorted, because they only sort out their money however it comes to them, right? And usually this is income. They did some kind of income producing activity, like a newspaper job or something for a neighbor. And so that money they don't get to spend 100%. Because if you teach your kids, like I was inadvertently taught, to blow 100% of what they get, that has big grown-up problems when they turn 18 and get a credit card and suddenly feel entitled to spend all that money on themselves, and have a really hard time portioning out money and learning to live on less. Not like an impoverished mindset, but just a responsible mindset. So when they finish, there's nothing to sort right now, but when there's money to sort every 3 months, 1/10 or 10%, right, goes into this jar. And we just sort of store it up until it's time to give. And real quick, in case you're wondering, we direct our children to give half of this money to our local church, into whatever, either the general pot or to a specific ministry in the church that's on their heart. And the other half, we give them the opportunity, if they want, to give it to some kind of good, fruitful work. Maybe there's something local, something international cause that's really on their heart, so that they can begin to practice, charitable giving, and really taking ownership for that. So next is saving. That's 5/10 or 50%, because come on, they're under 18 years old. They don't need 70% of their income to support, a family like we do. So we do basically forced savings, and they will have access to this money for only 2 reasons. One, if they're taking out a personal loan for a business venture, like if one of our sons was doing some pet breeding and he needed some startup money. So we said, okay, well, you can, we recorded it, and he lent himself $100 and then paid it back from the profit from his business startup venture. So, and if he didn't profit, then he's going to pay it back out of the spending. I'll get to this next. So we decided that by the time, they turn between 18 and 21, by 21, they will certainly be turned over access to this money. Once this gets over 500, we open up a savings account. And when they turn about 15, 16, especially if they're looking to get a job or something like that, then we usually switch it into a student checking account. They have it for this stuff. But this stays in a savings account in the bank. And if they want, to talk about maybe investing it, but they certainly have access to it by the time they're 21 years old, arbitrary age, age of adulthood, biblically the way we look at it. So they can have all that money that they have saved up then. And hopefully by then they have the maturity, right? The financial responsibility, the stewardship principles to use that money really wisely. Perhaps they will direct it into some continued education, or perhaps a business, or perhaps, or maybe they just want to go have a vacation of a lifetime. We won't shame them on that. We may give them some counsel, but ultimately by then it is their money. God entrusted it to them. We're just going to hold it in trust until they hopefully are responsible with it. Older, and hopefully there'll be a great blessing. Maybe they'll get married and put a down payment on a home. So
this is spending, which right now is empty, and it's four tenths of whatever the sort is. And so this ends up being 40%. So they know that for every $10 that they get as income, as they generate, $4 is theirs. And sometimes I can feel the rub. Some of my kids feel it more than others. But some of them really have a heart, and they are like already talking now in their young adult years about what they might do with that money, that savings, that treasure that will be theirs to steward. So that's super exciting. Spending, this was tough for me. I think the first time one of my kids had some spending money, maybe 9 or 10, and my dad took them to the dollar store, and they blew it all on toys that broke within the hour, on candy they consumed the same day. And I remember feeling that rub because I'm like, don't buy all that stupid stuff. But I had this check in my spirit. I'll share with you in case it's helpful, especially if you're a few years behind me as a parent and you're still figuring out this stuff like I was in the early years. Just a second, my throat's really dry. Sometimes you just need to learn things by doing it. And I had this check in my spirit. I truly believe it was God, just kind of Holy Spirit style, checking me and saying, let them learn. Give them some freedom and see how they handle it, right? Within reason. They weren't buying street drugs or anything. But okay, it's the dollar store. And they'll find out that some of those toys from the dollar store are really cheap and not worth it. And next time they have some spending money, you could gently remind them. If they're like, oh, let's go to the dollar store and do the same thing all over again. We say, hey, well, remember last time, when the toy broke, are you sure you want to do that? Okay, and like just hands off pretty much. So this is how we approach it with our jar system. Off screen, I've got 2 big bins because we have 11 children, and it's turned into quite a few jars. You usually start actually getting their own jars, usually by the time they have their first job. And by about 11, most of our kids have gotten a newspaper job. In fact, they're now just handing it on to each other, this local newspaper job. We've got 2 running in the family. Everyone else who's younger than that and really doesn't have spending money yet, when birthday money comes, of course, they don't have any kind of income really. We, excuse me, we just keep it in an envelope with their name on it. And it's, and it can get to be quite a bit of money, quite a pretty penny. Their grandparents, they might get gift money around birthday or Christmas. Sometimes we let them spend it right away. And when it comes to gift money, we actually allow them to spend the whole thing. We don't force them to tithe. We are saying, listen, this was a gift. It was God. And, the person who gave it to you in lieu of a gift. So, when someone gives you a physical gift, like we don't make them cut off portion of gift or anything. So it was for us, and other families might do it differently. We decided if it was just a gift, then we would honor the giver by allowing them to do its intended purpose and spend it and buy something. Sometimes might sit with them and order something online off Amazon, like a Lego set or something they would really like, help them save it up if they have something a little bit bigger in mind. We only let our children do 2 major purchases a year of $40 or more if they're spending money, if they were really holding on to it. Usually they don't have that much to spend, but sometimes they do. Like if that sorting jar got pretty big, I know my son worked a lot over the past summer doing a lot of contract jobs, and he had quite a pretty penny. His bank account, I think his personal savings is well over $1,000 right now, and that's awesome. He's not even 16. So he had hundreds of dollars in his spending money. But he was also, 15 years old. He had his wallet. He wanted to keep some of this basically in the family bank vault, which we keep above the fridge. And, if need be, that we haven't had any issues, we could always put a lock on it because it is a family vault. And he was really responsible with it. He just accesses it maybe $20-$40 in his wallet at a time and keeps his wallet in his backpack. And there you go. But for everyone else, we say twice a year, at your birthday and at Christmas, you can make a big purchase. But otherwise, we do limit them with just huge spending because sometimes, they can big eyes and they spend a lot. So there's the basic system, sharing it with you in case it's an inspiration to you. It's worked really well for us. I'm really glad we had a system in place so my kids didn't end up basically doing what we did. So as I wrap it up, because baby Corey needs me, my voice is getting a little fluttery, I do want to recommend 2 things to you. If you, like me, didn't grow up with any kind of financial principles at all, and now you're a big family mom trying to figure it out on your own, I have 2 recommendations to you. catching this on YouTube and you'd like some more Big Family Mom support, feel free to join my Big Family Moms community. There's a link in today's description. Otherwise, I also have a course available called Big Family Home, which you can access. There should be a link in the description as well. And I have a bonus course in that course that not only teaches you how to get organized as a Big Family Mom, get to your routine, and keep calm as a mom, but I also just added an entire bonus course on how to feed your big family in a budget. And I break down this stuff even more in depthly, especially for the adults. And it's helped people, other big family moms, like pay off hundreds of dollars of debt, thousands of dollars of debt, and be able to like reclaim money right now in today's economy that they were spending. They didn't realize it's up to $700 a month. One lady told me just when she did my course. So if that's something that would really bless you as a big family mom, links are in the description. Otherwise, that's it. I'll wrap up because I was going to tell you, okay, so my oldest Eden, she's almost 18. She just bought herself her first iPhone. She's 3 months away from turning 18. She doesn't have a data plan on it yet because we told her internet access comes when you're 18. You got to earn that one. It takes a lot of trust. But I'm so glad we gave her the principles of stewardship and responsibility. She saved all her money. She wanted it nice. She wanted it bling and a cover and everything. Over $800 Canadian. So as an American, that's like $1,000 US. So you can hear Corey in the background. She's like, "Where are my cookies go?" I'm grateful that God gave us wisdom, and I hope passing this on to you has been helpful. If you have any questions, you can contact me in Big Family Moms group or send me a little PM on Facebook. Otherwise, God bless you. Have a great day.